The night she told me about the affair, it was raining. Not the kind of gentle rain that soothes you to sleep. It was the kind that drowns the silence between two people sitting across a table, pretending not to fall apart. Her name is Lena. We'd been married for 7 years. We had a small house with a maple tree out front and a porch swing she always said we'd grow old on. That night, she wouldn't look at me. She just sat there, twisting her ring, the same one I'd saved 3 paychecks for, and said in this quiet, rehearsed voice, "It was just one mistake, Adam. I don't even know why it happened. Just one mistake." Those words still echo in my head like a gunshot that never stops ringing. I remember staring at her, the woman I'd trusted with everything, and trying to figure out what one mistake looked like. Did it have a name? Did it text her good morning when I didn't? Did it make her laugh the way I used to before life got heavier? I didn't yell. I couldn't. It was like my body froze between disbelief and heartbreak. "Who is he?" I asked, voice barely above a whisper. She shook her head, eyes already wet but distant. "It doesn't matter, it's over." But it did matter, because we weren't over yet. And that was the cruelest part. I still loved her, even as she sat there and dismantled everything I thought was real. The next morning, she acted like the confession was therapy. She said she felt lighter. Meanwhile, I couldn't breathe. I tried to fix things, counseling, date nights, anything that could turn back time. But Lena, she wasn't there anymore. Her body sat beside me, but her heart was already gone. There were nights I'd wake up and see her lying on her side of the bed, facing away, scrolling through her phone with that same blank expression. And every time I asked who she was talking to, she'd sigh, roll her eyes, and say, "You have to start trusting me again if we're ever going to move forward." Trust. How do you rebuild something that someone else already burned down? I'd go to work and stare at my phone, half hoping she'd text me something, anything, half dreading that she would. One evening, about 2 weeks later, I came home early. Her car was in the driveway, lights off inside. For a moment, I thought maybe she was asleep. But when I walked in, the air smelled faintly like her perfume, the one she hadn't worn in months, and another scent I couldn't place. Footsteps upstairs, soft, slow, careful. I climbed the stairs quietly, heart pounding in my throat. Our bedroom door was half closed. Light spilled through the crack. I heard her voice, low, nervous. "He's home, I'll call you later." Then silence. When I pushed the door open, she was sitting on the edge of the bed, phone face down on her lap. She looked at me, startled but not guilty, just annoyed, like I'd interrupted something important. "Who were you talking to?" I asked. "No one," she said, "just a friend." I wanted to believe her. God, I needed to believe her. But deep down, I knew. Her eyes, those same eyes that used to soften when they met mine, were now guarded cold. That night, I sat outside on the porch swing, rain starting again, a mug of untouched coffee cooling beside me. I stared at the driveway, at the faint glow of her phone through the curtains upstairs. I thought about the years, the laughter, the stupid inside jokes, the mornings she'd steal my hoodie and make pancakes too thin. How do people go from that to this? How does love die so quietly you don't even notice the last heartbeat? At midnight, she came outside. She stood there, arms folded, shivering slightly. "Can we not do this every night?" she said, tired. I didn't answer. "I told you it was just one mistake. Why can't you let it go?" Her voice cracked on that last part, but not from guilt, from frustration. That's when I realized she didn't want forgiveness. She wanted relief. She wanted me to make it easy for her to move on, to wash her hands of the mess she made. I looked at her, really looked at her, and I didn't see my wife anymore. I saw a stranger who shared her face. "Because I can't let go of something that's still bleeding," I said. She turned away, muttered something I couldn't catch, and went back inside. That night, I didn't sleep. The rain hit the porch roof like static, and somewhere between exhaustion and heartbreak, I decided to check her phone. It wasn't locked. She must have thought I wouldn't dare. But I did. There they were, messages, photos, voice notes. His name was Ethan. He wasn't just one mistake. He was a second life she built while pretending to live ours. And then I saw one text that broke me. "He'll never know. He still loves me too much to question it." I sat there, phone shaking in my hands, staring at those words until the screen went dark. That's when something inside me finally did too. I didn't confront her that night. I just walked out barefoot, rain soaking through my clothes, and sat in the car. I didn't drive anywhere. I just needed to sit somewhere that didn't smell like her lies, and for the first time, I realized I wasn't trying to save her anymore. I was trying to save myself. The house felt different after she left. Not quieter, yes, but heavier. Like every wall was holding its breath, waiting for something to shatter. She didn't pack much. Just a suitcase, a few bags, and the kind of nonchalant glare that made it feel like she'd always been planning this. "I need space, Adam. You can't understand me right now," she said. Her voice had that same defensive edge, cold, measured, like she was rehearsing lines she hoped would make me let her go without a fight. I didn't argue. I just watched her leave. The car door closed, the engine started, and with it my world tilted. The first week was a blur of empty rooms and echoes. I woke up every morning expecting to hear her shoes on the hardwood floor, the creak of the bedroom door, the soft hum of her hair dryer. Instead, silence. I found myself scrolling through my phone, half hoping for a message from her. I miss you. I made a mistake. Anything, but there was nothing, and then I saw the first hint of Ethan. A text notification popped up from a mutual friends group chat. Saw Lena at the cafe with some guy. Cute couple. I froze, coffee spilled down my shirt. My hands shook as I read it again. Lena happy with someone else. I felt a sharp, hollow ache in my chest, like my ribs were carved out with ice. And I hated her for it. But more than hate, I hated the idea that I still loved her. Days turned into weeks. Everywhere I looked, I saw reminders. Her toothbrush, the jacket she left on the chair, the way the living room smelled faintly of her perfume. I stopped talking to friends. I stopped answering calls. I started walking around the neighborhood at night, past streetlights that felt too bright, past houses that seemed happy, past families that still had mornings together. And somewhere in that loneliness, I started checking her social media. Not stalking, I told myself, just observing. There they were, Ethan, smiling, laughing, every post like a knife twisting in the wound. I didn't know him, I didn't need to. Just seeing his face was enough. I started leaving little things behind for her, folded laundry, mugs she liked, notes on the fridge, even though I knew she wouldn't see them. I think I did it for myself. To feel like I still had some control. One night, I found an old photo album she left on the shelf. We were younger in those pictures, teeth bright, eyes full of laughter. I traced her smile with my finger, the pages crinkling beneath my touch, and I realized that girl in the pictures wasn't Lena anymore. But grief has a way of changing people. It turns quiet pain into silent determination. I started running again, through puddles, past houses with lights on, past couples holding hands. I'd come back home soaked to the bone, chest burning, heart pounding, and somehow that pain reminded me I was still alive. I started writing, not letters I'd send, not texts she'd read, just words, raw, unfiltered, honest. I wrote about her, about me, about the emptiness that stretched between us. And in writing, I found pieces of myself I didn't know I'd lost. Then, one rainy afternoon, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. Lena asked me to pass this along. She's thinking about you. Attached was a photo. Lena. Ethan at the corner cafe, laughing over coffee. Ethan's arm was around her shoulder. And for a moment, I felt something like nausea, something like anger, something like fear. Fear that she could forget me this easily. Fear that she could move on without even looking back. I didn't reply. I didn't call. I just stared at the photo until the rain outside turned my tears into a blur. Weeks passed, and every time I thought I was beginning to breathe again, a memory would hit me. The way she used to hum while making pancakes. The sound of her laugh in the living room late at night. The way she'd touch my shoulder in crowded rooms, small, almost invisible gestures that meant more than words. I realized the thing I hated most wasn't her. It wasn't Ethan. It was the empty spaces she left in my life. The silence where her voice used to be, the absence where her warmth used to live, and then something unexpected started to grow. Not hope, not yet, but awareness, strength. I started seeing friends again, just small interactions. I started fixing things around the house, painting a wall, replacing a leaky faucet. Not for her, not for anyone, for me. And I began to understand something that felt both terrifying and freeing. I didn't need her to exist. I didn't need her forgiveness. I didn't even need her love. I needed myself. But even as I rebuilt, the ghost of her betrayal lingered. Every laugh I forced, every smile I faked, every night I spent in an empty bed reminded me of Ethan, of what she chose over me. I knew I couldn't face her yet, not with the anger so raw it might burn us both, not with the grief still pulsing like electricity through my veins. Yet I also knew she'd come back. I didn't know when, I didn't know why. But something told me, when Lena returned, it wouldn't be to reclaim what she lost. It would be because she finally understood the cost of what she gave away, and I wasn't sure if I'd be ready to welcome her back. It was a Tuesday night when she came back, the kind of night where the streetlights shimmered against wet asphalt, and the air smelled faintly of rain and broken promises. I was in the living room, staring at the same empty couch she had left weeks ago. The house was quiet, too quiet, until I heard a soft knock at the door. My heart stopped. I didn't move. Another knock, softer this time. Hesitant, I got up slowly, as if approaching her might shatter me entirely, and then I saw her. Lena, her hair damp, clinging to her face. Eyes red puffy, face pale, she looked smaller, vulnerable. "Adam," she whispered. Her voice was like glass, fragile, cracking. Why are you here?" I said, keeping my distance. She didn't answer immediately, just stood there, shivering slightly, holding herself like the world had knocked her down and left her on the floor. Finally, she took a step forward. I can't do it anymore. I can't pretend I'm happy. He wasn't what I thought. I was wrong. I don't know what to do. Her words tumbled out, unpolished, raw. I could see the guilt weighing her down like stones in her chest. Lena, you left me, I said quietly. You chose him over us. She flinched as if my words physically struck her. I know, she said, her voice breaking, and I hate myself for it. I've hated myself every day since I walked out that door. I thought I wanted freedom, but it was never him. It was never anything but us. I was scared, I was stupid. I lost myself, Adam, and I lost you. I wanted to scream. I wanted to pull her close. I wanted to tell her I still loved her, that I forgave her, that everything could go back to the way it was. But I couldn't, because love isn't just about wanting. Sometimes it's about boundaries, respect, self-preservation. I don't know if I can trust you again, I said. She nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks, leaving tracks on her damp skin. I don't expect you to. I don't deserve it. I had to come back. I can't live with the lie that I'm okay when I'm not. And you deserve to know the truth. I failed you. Her words hit me with a weight I couldn't measure. She wasn't trying to justify herself anymore. She was confessing, owning it. And somehow it hurt more than the betrayal itself. We sat on the couch, the one she had left behind, the one that had felt so empty for weeks. I kept my arms crossed. Distance, safety. Do you want me to leave again? She asked softly. I didn't answer immediately. The silence stretched. Her tears fell onto her hands, a quiet rhythm I couldn't ignore. Finally, I said, you can stay, but just for tonight. Her shoulders sagged, relief and guilt tangled in the same breath. She didn't say anything, just curled up beside me, trying to fit into a space that no longer fully belonged to her. That night, the air between us was heavy, not with anger, not with passion, but with the fragile, trembling edges of something that used to be whole. I listened as she whispered apologies into the darkness, the rain tapping against the windows like a slow, mournful drum. And in the quiet, I realized she wasn't the same woman I married. She was someone new, broken, ashamed, searching for forgiveness she hadn't earned. I wanted to hold her. I wanted to say, it's okay, it's over, we're fine. But I didn't. Because forgiveness doesn't erase pain, and love doesn't erase choices. The hours passed slowly. We didn't sleep much. We talked in fragments, hesitant questions, careful confessions. She told me about Ethan, about how it all crumbled. About how the freedom she chased turned hollow the second she realized she had thrown away everything that mattered. I listened, and I felt something shift inside me. Not forgiveness yet, not reconciliation, but awareness. I could see her finally as she really was. Not the cold, defensive woman who betrayed me. Not the arrogant person who laughed while pretending to be happy. But the scared, lost soul who made terrible choices and was paying for them now. By morning, she was asleep beside me, peaceful, exhausted, vulnerable. I stared at the ceiling, thinking about what had happened, the betrayal, the grief, the confrontation. And I realized something: love isn't always enough. Sometimes love means letting someone see you, even if you can't fix them. Sometimes it means holding your ground, even when your heart wants to shatter. And sometimes it means choosing yourself over the person you once would have died for. I didn't wake her, I didn't speak. I just lay there, listening to her soft breathing, letting the moment exist, fragile, unresolved, real. For the first time in weeks, I felt calm, but I knew this calm was temporary. I knew decisions were coming. I knew the pain wasn't over. And yet, for now, I let her stay, just for tonight. Morning light filtered through the half-open blinds, casting soft stripes across the living room floor. The air smelled faintly of rain and coffee, and for the first time in weeks, the house didn't feel suffocating. Lena was still asleep on the couch, her body curled into itself, arms wrapped around a pillow, hair falling in damp strands across her face. I watched her quietly, unsure if I should wake her or let her rest. I realized then she was gone. The woman who had betrayed me, who had laughed while pretending to move on, who had built a life with someone else, she was gone. And in her place was someone raw, fragile, regretful. But even now, that wasn't enough to fix the damage. I made coffee, kept it simple, black, bitter, exactly how I liked it. I sat at the kitchen table, listening to the hum of the refrigerator, the occasional chirp of a bird outside. Everything ordinary, everything painfully normal. And yet, it felt like a new beginning. Lena stirred on the couch, blinking up at me. "Morning," she whispered. Her voice was soft, tentative, as if testing whether the world would still hold her accountable. "Morning," I replied, keeping my tone steady. She got up slowly, moving toward the kitchen, eyes downcast. I don't even know if you can forgive me," she said. "I don't even know if I should be here." I set my mug down and looked at her. "I can forgive you. But forgiveness doesn't mean everything goes back to how it was." She nodded, tears brimming but contained. I know, I had to come back. I had to face what I did. I can't keep running from it. I studied her for a long moment. And I understood something essential. She wasn't mine to fix. She wasn't mine at all. We spoke in measured sentences that morning. Nothing dramatic, no shouting, no pleading, just truths laid bare carefully, cautiously. She apologized again. I acknowledged it. She tried to reach for my hand. I didn't take it, because love isn't always about touch. Sometimes it's about knowing when to step back. I think you need to leave, I said finally. Her face fell. I understand, she whispered. I'm not asking for more. I had to say goodbye properly. And that was it. No grand gesture, no emotional reconciliation. Just a quiet, bittersweet acknowledgement that some things can't be repaired, and that some love exists only as a memory, as a lesson, as a weight that teaches you who you are. She left the house, suitcase in hand, the rain beginning again outside. I didn't follow her. I didn't watch the car drive away. I simply closed the door behind her and leaned against it, feeling the empty space that once held so much. It hurt, of course it hurt, but it wasn't despair. It wasn't rage. It was acceptance. I realized I could forgive her without taking her back. I could love myself without her. I could move forward without carrying the weight of her mistakes in my chest. The rest of the day passed quietly. I walked through the house, opening windows, letting sunlight in. I brewed another cup of coffee. I sat on the porch swing, the one we had always said we'd grow old on, and breathed. For the first time in months, I felt calm, not empty, not broken, alive, whole. And I understood, finally, that some chapters end not with reconciliation, but with reflection, not with reunion, but with understanding, not with love restored, but with self-respect regained. I smiled faintly, letting the rain drip onto the maple leaves outside, and somewhere deep inside, I whispered a truth I hadn't been able to say aloud. Goodbye, Lena. Thank you for showing me who I really am. And with that, I let her go, not with hatred, not with anger, but with quiet peace.